Have you ever been told that forgiveness is the key to healing, that in order to move on you need to let go and forgive, even if the person who hurt you is a narcissist? Let me tell you, that's one of the biggest lies you've been sold. Because forgiving a narcissist doesn't set you free, it traps you right back into their toxic cycle. It gives them another chance to manipulate, deceive, and hurt you all over again. And if you think they'll change because of your kindness, think again. In today's video, we're going to break down why forgiving a narcissist will actually backfire on you. We'll expose the psychological traps they set, the ways they twist your forgiveness into another tool for control, and what you should do instead to truly heal and reclaim your life. If you've ever been entangled with a narcissist, whether it's a partner, a family member, or even a friend, this is the hard truth you need to hear. So let's get into it. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on powerful insights that can help you take back control of your life. Being involved with a narcissist is not just emotionally draining. It's a slow, methodical destruction of your sense of self. It starts subtly, almost imperceptibly, like a single drop of poison in a glass of water. You don't notice the toxicity at first. You excuse their behavior. You tell yourself they had a bad day, that they didn't mean it, that things will get better. But they don't. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, and they operate in cycles. Idealization, devaluation, and discard. At the beginning, they make you feel special, seen, even cherished. They mirror your values, interests, and dreams, creating the illusion of deep connection. This is how they hook you. You believe you've found someone who truly understands you, who appreciates you in a way no one else has before. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things begin to shift. Their compliments turn into backhanded insults. Their admiration morphs into subtle criticisms. The warmth you once felt is replaced with cold indifference or explosive rage. They begin to condition you, making you question yourself, your worth, even your sanity. This is gaslighting, one of their most powerful weapons. They rewrite reality, deny things they said or did, and make you feel like the problem is always you. And so you adapt. You walk on eggshells, second-guessing everything you say and do. You become hyper-vigilant, constantly trying to anticipate their moods, their needs, their reactions. Because when they're happy, things are okay, but when they're not, you pay the price. You may start apologizing for things that aren't your fault. You may minimize your own feelings, convincing yourself that you're being too sensitive, too demanding, too emotional. This is how narcissistic abuse rewires your brain. It puts you in a trauma bond where the highs are intoxicating and the lows are soul-crushing. The rare moments of affection or kindness keep you hooked, making you chase after the person they pretended to be in the beginning. And even when you recognize the abuse, leaving isn't easy, because by this point, they have chipped away at your confidence, your independence, and even your ability to trust yourself. If you try to call them out on their behavior, they'll twist the narrative, turn the blame onto you, and make you feel guilty for even bringing it up. If you catch them lying, they'll either deny it outright or accuse you of overreacting. And if you finally try to walk away, they'll either love-bomb you, pulling you back in with empty promises and fake remorse, or they'll turn cold and cruel, discarding you like you never mattered at all. And that's one of the hardest truths to accept. To them, you didn't matter, not in the way you thought you did. You weren't a partner, a friend, or a loved one. You were a source of supply, a tool they used to feed their ego, their need for control, their endless hunger for attention. But here's the part they don't want you to know. You can break free. The moment you stop seeking their validation, the moment you recognize their patterns for what they are, the moment you realize you deserve better, that's when you start reclaiming your life. And in this journey, forgiving them is not the answer. At least, not in the way most people think. Because forgiveness doesn't change them. It doesn't make them regret what they did. It doesn't suddenly give them empathy or remorse. All it does is give them another opportunity to hurt you again. And you deserve more than that. But here's the harsh reality. Walking away from a narcissist isn't enough if you're still holding on to the idea of forgiving them, because forgiveness, when it comes to a narcissist, isn't a path to healing, it's an invitation for more harm. If you think forgiving them will bring you closure or make them change, you're in for a painful awakening. So let's dive into the 5 biggest reasons why forgiving a narcissist will only backfire on you, keeping you trapped in their toxic cycle instead of setting you free. Reason 1. They will continue to hurt you. One of the most dangerous illusions when dealing with a narcissist is the belief that forgiveness will change them. That if you let go of resentment, if you extend kindness, if you show them compassion, they will wake up, realize their mistakes and treat you better. But the truth is, that's not how it works. The reality is, a narcissist will continue to hurt you as long as they have access to you. They don't stop because you forgive them. They don't reflect on their actions or feel remorse for what they've done. On the contrary, the more you forgive, the more you make them believe they can continue to manipulate, control, and exploit you. This isn't just personal experience, it's backed by scientific research. Studies have shown that people who forgive too quickly or too easily are at a significantly higher risk of being hurt again. When applied to narcissists, the danger increases significantly. Forgiveness does not mean safety, it is an invitation for them to continue hurting you. When you forgive a narcissist, you may think you are creating peace, but in their mind, it is a green light to continue their toxic behavior. They understand that they can hurt you, lie to you, betray you, and you will still be there. Instead of stopping, they escalate things even further. A narcissist does not respect boundaries. They will test you, push you to your limits, and when you give in, they will push even further. If you have ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, whether a romantic partner, family member, or co-worker, you have likely experienced this pattern. You catch them lying and they distort the truth, making you doubt yourself. You confront them about their toxic behavior and they reverse the situation, making you feel like the one at fault. You stand up for yourself and suddenly they become the victim, accusing you of being cruel, insensitive, or even abusive. Then comes the apology, a calculated performance designed to pull you back in. They promise to change, to respect you, to never repeat their mistakes. Maybe they cry, maybe they say things that deeply move you, and because you have empathy, you want to believe them. You forgive. But the cycle keeps repeating. Maybe at first they act better, they show signs of improvement, do small things to prove that they have changed. But it never lasts, because a narcissist does not have true self-reflection, genuine remorse, or real accountability. They only do what is necessary to keep you around, to maintain control, and to ensure they still have access to the benefits you provide them. And each time you forgive, they learn one thing. No matter how much they hurt you, they can always get away with it. Many people are taught that forgiveness brings peace, that it helps you move forward. In many healthy relationships, this is true. When two emotionally mature people have a conflict, forgiveness allows for healing, growth, and deeper connection. But narcissists do not operate by those rules. In their world, forgiveness is nothing more than a reset button, an opportunity to continue their harmful behavior without consequences. Instead of bringing peace, it makes you more vulnerable. Imagine you are walking through a forest and encounter a venomous snake. The first time, you don't know it's dangerous, so you get too close and it bites you. You suffer, you heal, and you learn your lesson. Now, imagine you see that snake again, but this time you tell yourself, maybe it won't bite me this time. Maybe I should give it another chance. You reach out, and it bites you again, because that's its nature. This is how narcissists operate. Their nature is to manipulate, exploit, and take advantage. Expecting them to change just because you forgive them is like expecting a snake not to bite. It goes against their very nature. The longer you stay in this cycle, the more it damages you, not just emotionally, but psychologically. Every time you forgive, every time you give them another chance, you unconsciously reinforce the belief that your boundaries don't matter, that your pain is insignificant, that you need to keep proving your worth by enduring their abuse. This is how trauma bonds form. You begin to equate love with suffering. You justify their behavior. You hold on to the rare moments of kindness, the brief gestures of affection, as proof that they truly care. But the truth is, they don't. Because if they did, they wouldn't keep hurting you. Reason 2. Hurting you is in their nature. One of the most painful truths when dealing with a narcissist is accepting that they are not like you. They don't think, feel, or act the way a compassionate person does. A narcissist doesn't hurt you by accident. They don't lash out because they didn't know better or because they made a mistake in the heat of the moment. They hurt you because it serves their interests. It is their nature to manipulate, exploit, and take advantage of others. Waiting for a narcissist to change just because you forgive them is like expecting a cat to stop hunting mice. They will always return to their true nature, someone who prioritizes their own needs above all else, even if it means hurting you. In a healthy relationship, people value each other as independent individuals. There is mutual respect, love, and understanding. But in a narcissist's world, people are not seen as individuals with their own emotions and needs. You only have value as long as you serve their interests. This is why they shower you with affection, love bombing in the beginning, because at that stage, they need you. They need you to admire them, validate their worth, and be their emotional supply. They create the illusion of a deep connection, making you believe that you are special, irreplaceable, and that they truly care about you. But the moment your usefulness decreases, or when you start asserting your own needs, they begin discarding you. They become distant, critical, or even cruel. And when you react, they blame you, making you believe that you are the problem. This cycle repeats because, in their eyes, you were never truly a person. You are just a tool, and a narcissist will always prioritize their own interests over your peace and happiness. A defining trait of people with narcissistic personality disorder is their lack of empathy. This means they don't feel guilt or remorse in the same way a normal person does. When they hurt you, they don't lie awake at night thinking about how to make things right. In fact, they don't feel bad at all. If a narcissist appears remorseful, it's not because they genuinely regret what they did, it's because they got caught, or because showing remorse benefits them in some way. They will say whatever is necessary to escape consequences, but the moment they regain your forgiveness, they return to who they truly are. This is why forgiving a narcissist is meaningless. You're giving them another chance, but in their eyes, it's not a chance to do better, it's a chance to exploit you even more. A narcissist doesn't see your forgiveness as an act of grace. They see it as proof that they are above the rules, that they will never have to face consequences. If you forgive them, you're teaching them that their actions don't really have consequences, that they can treat you however they want and you will always come back. Instead of feeling grateful, they feel emboldened. This is why, over time, their behavior usually gets worse. They take their manipulation, lies, and abuse to a new level, because with every forgiveness, they learn that they can push further without losing you. Imagine standing near the edge of a deep, dark lake when suddenly you hear a cry for help. You look out and see a man struggling in the water, thrashing wildly. His eyes are filled with desperation, his arms flailing uncontrollably. Your heart races. He's drowning. Without hesitation, you dive in, determined to save him. You swim as fast as you can, reaching out to pull him to safety, but the moment you get close, he grabs onto you with both hands and drags you under. You try to break free to find a way out, but his grip tightens. Instead of letting you save him, he uses you as a flotation device, pushing you down so he can stay afloat. You gasp for air, struggling to surface, but the harder you fight, the deeper he pulls you, because he doesn't care whether you drown, as long as he survives. This is exactly what happens when you forgive a narcissist. Every time you try to help them, to lift them up, they will drag you down. They don't want to be saved. They don't want to change. They just want someone to cling to, as long as that person is willing to sacrifice themselves to keep them afloat. And if you let them, they will drown you over and over again, forever. Reason 3. They don't feel guilt only opportunity. One of the hardest truths to accept about narcissists is that they don't feel guilt the way you do. When you hurt someone, you feel remorse. You reflect, regret, and want to make things right. But a narcissist? They don't feel bad for hurting you. They only feel annoyed when they get caught, and even then, their so-called remorse isn't because of the pain they caused, but because of the inconvenience it brings them. They don't reflect on their actions. They don't lie awake at night thinking about how to be a better person. Instead, they see everything through the lens of power, control, and protecting their ego. This is why forgiving a narcissist never changes them. They don't see forgiveness as an emotional reconciliation, but as just another tool to manipulate you. Have you ever noticed that when a narcissist apologizes, something feels off? Their words may sound reasonable, but there's no real emotion behind them. That's because a narcissist doesn't apologize because they feel guilty. They apologize because they want something. If they get caught, their apology is damage control. If you're pulling away, their apology is a way to reel you back in. If they sense you might leave for good, their apology is about maintaining control. They say what you want to hear, not because they mean it, but because it's a tactic. And once they get what they want, they go right back to their old ways, hurting you as if nothing ever happened. Think about it. How many times have they promised to change? How many times have they appeared regretful, only to repeat the same behavior? That's because their apologies aren't expressions of guilt, they are tools of manipulation. There's a key difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong, I feel bad about it, I need to make it right. Shame says, I got caught, now people will think I'm a bad person, I need to save my image. A narcissist doesn't feel guilt, they only feel shame. This is why, when they get exposed, they will do everything in their power to rewrite the story in their favor. They don't care about what they did wrong, they only care about how they can avoid looking like the bad guy. They twist the story so they become the victim. They spread rumors and talk behind your back to make you look crazy. They gaslight you until you start doubting your own memory. And if none of that works, they play the poor me act, pretending the world is against them, hoping you'll feel sorry and come back, but don't mistake that for remorse. They don't regret hurting you, they only regret losing control over you. A narcissist doesn't learn from their mistakes, they learn from what works. So when you forgive them, what do they learn? That they can do whatever they want and you'll still be there. That if they say the right words, they can soften your heart. That if they pretend to change, you'll give them another chance. That if they act remorseful, they can still maintain control. And the worst part, they learn that hurting you has no real consequences. Instead of making them better, your forgiveness teaches them that they can exploit you even more. And so, next time, they will push things further. They will test your boundaries. They will see how much they can take from you before you finally break. This is why forgiving a narcissist isn't an act of kindness, it's an act of self-destruction. Imagine you have a locked door to protect yourself from danger. One day, a stranger comes along, breaks the lock and barges into your home. You catch them and throw them out. But the next day they come back, and instead of fixing the lock, you leave the door open and say, I trust that you won't do it again. What do you think will happen? Of course, they break in again. Why? Because they now know they can do it without consequences. This is exactly what happens when you forgive a narcissist. You're not teaching them to respect you. You're teaching them that they can break your boundaries without facing any real repercussions. A narcissist will never respect a door they know they can break, so instead of leaving it open, change the lock, shut the door, and make sure they never have access to your life again. Reason 4. They will use your forgiveness as a weapon against you. If you've ever forgiven a narcissist, you've likely experienced this. What should have been an act of compassion and closure instead becomes a tool they use to manipulate you. Narcissists don't see forgiveness the way normal people do. For most, forgiveness is about healing, moving forward and rebuilding trust. But to a narcissist, your forgiveness is an advantage, a resource they can twist, distort and weaponize to control you. When you forgive them, they don't feel relief or gratitude. They feel entitled. They see it as proof that they can hurt you as many times as they want, and you'll still come back. And if one day you bring up what they did, they will use your very forgiveness to make you feel guilty. At first, they beg for your forgiveness, promising to change, making you feel guilty for holding on to the past. But the moment you forgive them, they flip the script and use that forgiveness as a weapon to silence you. If you bring up the pain they caused, they'll say, "I thought you forgave me. Why do you keep bringing this up?" If you try to set boundaries, they'll accuse you, "You're just holding on to resentment. You need to learn to let go." If you express the hurt they caused, they'll attack you. The problem is you. You never know how to forgive and move on. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they make you feel guilty for still feeling hurt. They turn their mistakes into your burden. So instead of demanding accountability from them, you end up apologizing to them for bringing up the past, for still being hurt, for expecting them to change. And that's exactly what they wanted from the start. When you forgive a narcissist, they don't stop there. They don't just use forgiveness to silence you. They rewrite the entire story to make themselves the victim. At first, it's subtle. They might say, "It wasn't as bad as you think. You're overreacting. You're remembering it wrong. That's not how it happened. You're just being too sensitive." Then they start blaming you. "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted that way. You made me act like that. You didn't leave me any other choice." You always play the victim. And before you realize it, the whole story has changed. They're no longer the one who hurt you. They're the one who was wronged. Instead of them apologizing, you're the one justifying your emotions. Instead of them making amends, you're the one proving your pain is real. And the worst part? You start doubting yourself. You wonder if maybe you really did overreact. If maybe you did remember things wrong. If maybe you were the one at fault. And that's how they win. Not by making things right, not by changing, but by making you believe their abuse never even happened. Imagine someone pointing a gun at you and pulling the trigger. You survive. You tremble, you hurt, you try to heal. Then one day, they come to you with tears in their eyes. They apologize. They beg for another chance. They promise never to hurt you again. And because you want to believe people can change, you forgive them. But do they throw away the gun? No. Instead, they reload it, and the next time they need to control you, to silence you, they raise the gun again. Only this time, when you react, they say, "I thought you forgave me. Why are you still bringing this up?" Because to them, your forgiveness is not a chance to do better. It's permission to hurt you again. When emotionally healthy people make mistakes, they learn from them. They grow, they take responsibility and try not to repeat them. But narcissists don't learn from the past. They exploit it. They never truly forget what they did because they keep those mistakes in their arsenal. Your forgiveness becomes a free pass they can use anytime they need to escape accountability. And over time, that only increases their sense of entitlement. They don't feel guilty for hurting you. They feel powerful for getting away with it. They don't feel remorseful. They feel smarter for twisting reality. They don't think about treating you better. They focus on keeping control longer. And that is why forgiving a narcissist doesn't heal you. It only empowers them. And giving a hurrow, it empowers them. Reason 5. They will use forgiveness to pull you back into their game. One of the most dangerous things about forgiving a narcissist is that it doesn't bring closure. It only opens the door to a new cycle of manipulation. Narcissists don't see forgiveness as a chance to make things right. They see it as a reset button, an opportunity to restart their toxic game on their terms. The moment you forgive them, they don't feel grateful or relieved. They feel more powerful. They realize they still have a hold on you. They see your forgiveness not as kindness, but as proof that you're still emotionally attached. And once they recognize that, they start their game all over again. Forgiving a narcissist doesn't mean they'll stop hurting you. It only means they know they can keep doing it without consequences. They will test your boundaries again, just to see how far they can push. They will use past forgiveness to make you feel guilty for setting new boundaries. They will pretend to be remorseful just long enough to pull you back in, then immediately return to their old ways once you let your guard down. This is how they keep you trapped in their endless cycle. They hurt you. They apologize, but without true remorse. You forgive them. They hurt you again. And with every cycle, it becomes harder to break free, because every time you forgive, you invest more hope that maybe this time will be different. But things never change, except for one thing. They get better at manipulating you. Narcissists are masters at creating the illusion that they've changed, just enough to keep you from leaving. They might act differently, but only to keep you from walking away. They might give you a little hope, just to stop you from cutting them off completely. They might say everything you want to hear, just to make you doubt your decision, but it's never real. Once they regain control, they slowly slip back into their old behavior. Only this time, it's worse because now they know they can play this game forever. They've learned exactly what words and actions will keep you hooked, and with every cycle they refine their tactics, making it harder and harder for you to escape. If a narcissist has discarded you, chances are they'll come back, but not because they love you. They come back because they love the power they have when they control you. A narcissist doesn't want to lose control over you. They don't want to see you move on. They don't want you to realize that you're actually happier without them. So when they sense you slipping away, what do? They fake remorse to lure you back. They play the victim to make you feel guilty for leaving. They dangle a small glimmer of hope just to make you hesitate. And if you forgive them, they've won the game, because now they don't have to change. They don't have to take responsibility. They don't have to make things right. They just have to keep manipulating you until you're too exhausted to leave again. Imagine you're a fish swimming freely in the ocean. A narcissist drops a fishing line, baited with promises, apologies, and sweet words. You take the bait, believing this time will be different, but the moment you bite, they yank the line, pulling you right back into their control. And every time you try to swim away, they drop another line, knowing that sooner or later, you'll take the bait again. That's exactly what happens when you forgive a narcissist. You think you're moving forward, but in reality, you're still hooked, just waiting for them to reel you back in. The only way to truly break free: stop taking the bait. What you should do instead of forgiving a narcissist. If forgiving a narcissist only keeps you trapped in their toxic cycle, the question becomes, what should you do instead? The answer is simple: stop engaging. Stop playing their game. Take back your power. 1. Go no contact, or as little contact as possible. The best way to protect yourself from a narcissist is to completely cut them off. Block them on all platforms, delete their number, and remove any way for them to reach you. If you must stay in contact, due to shared children, work, or legal reasons, keep your interactions minimal, neutral, and strictly businesslike. Do not give them emotional reactions. They feed off of it. 2. Stop hoping they will change. A narcissist does not change. They may pretend for a while, but their true nature will always return. Accepting this truth is the first step to breaking free. Stop waiting for an apology that means nothing. Stop believing in their empty promises. The only way to win against a narcissist is to stop expecting them to be different. 3. Set firm boundaries and enforce them. A narcissist will test your limits repeatedly. They will ignore boundaries, guilt-trip you, and push you to bend your own rules. Don't let them. If they try to contact you, don't respond. If they try to provoke you, walk away. If they try to manipulate you, call it what it is and refuse to engage. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. They exist to protect you, not to make them comfortable. 4. Focus on your healing, not on fixing them. A narcissist will never be your responsibility. Your healing, however, is. Instead of wasting energy on them, start investing in yourself. Seek therapy or counseling to rebuild your confidence. Surround yourself with supportive, understanding people. Engage in activities that bring you peace and self-worth. The more you heal, the less power they have over you. 5. Reclaim your reality. A narcissist thrives on gaslighting and distorting your perception. They make you question yourself, your memories, and your worth. It's time to take that power back. Trust your own experiences. Recognize their manipulation for what it is. Validate your own emotions without needing their approval. You don't need them to admit the truth for it to be real. Healing doesn't come from forgiving a narcissist. It comes from freeing yourself from them. You don't owe them another chance. You don't owe them closure. But you owe yourself peace. So choose yourself. Choose your freedom. Choose a life where their manipulation no longer controls you, because the best revenge is living a life they can no longer touch. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on healing, self-worth, and reclaiming your power.